On the water, fuck 12, I spark the blunt and broad dead waltz. Talking about the pints, you wanna walk it. Had to hit the rinse, now my chest feel like it got drop kicked. Had some blues, but I ain't poppin'. Had to tell Brody I wanted to deuce and then he dropped it. I'm the type to do some shit that you can't copy. Not the type to hit the juice, but it's an option.
What's up with y'all, man? DRS checking back in. I'm saying you already know what time it is, dog. If you haven't already, go check out my tape. Go check out my second channel. Know what I'm saying? I got like 50-something songs out. The tape is on every streaming platform. Know what I'm saying? So if you haven't already, go get at it. Listen. Know what I'm saying? Let me know what y'all think. Yeah, man, we're gonna do it straight like that. Let's get into it.
Nas's debut album, 1994's Illmatic, is a masterpiece, and the song New York State of Mind has become iconic.
It is a hit, I ain't gonna lie.
And in typical DJ Premier fashion, the music matches the lyrics perfectly. So much so that we have to talk about it. Alright, we're gonna start by talking about New York, specifically two big things to come out of it. Talk about how Nas and DJ Premier made this song, break it all the way down, analyze and recreate the beat, and see how this song takes those two big New York things we started with, rolls it into something new, and redefines the term New York State of Mind, both lyrically and musically. Ready?
So after I filmed the main video, I got on a plane and I'm here, and then I realized there's a couple extra things that I gotta add for this video, so there's gonna be like a bonus video within the video. So keep an eye out. Here we go.
So if there's one thing New Yorkers love, it's making songs about how much they love New York. An early example of this is the jazz standard by Vernon Duke, Autumn in New York from 1934. This is a beautiful jazz ballad that's been recorded by many different artists like Billie Holiday in 1952, Ella Fitzgerald and Louis Armstrong in 1957, and Frank Sinatra in 1958. It's a jazz standard, so that means it's been recorded and performed by so many people that I don't have time to list them all here. Lyrically, the song paints a picture of New York City through rose-colored glasses. The promise of new love or the gleaming rooftops at sundown make it feel like it's a comforting homage to home. It's a bit melancholy, especially when sung by someone like Billie Holiday, but overall portrays New York as this picturesque city brimming with opportunity. Or take the song New York, New York by Frank Sinatra from 1980. This is one of the best examples of New Yorkers singing about how great New York is. It's brimming with the same glow of unlimited opportunity with lines like, if I can make it here, I can make it anywhere, and I want to wake up in a city that never sleeps. You know why they don't sleep, right? Because sleep is the cousin of death. But we'll get there, that's coming, be patient. I'm doing a thing here, we're still setting up the story, it's gonna be worth it, okay? Another classic song about New York and how great New York is the Billy Joel song New York State of Mind from 1976. Billy Joel wrote this song as he was coming back to New York after having lived in LA, and as the song says, he was literally taking a Greyhound on the Hudson River line. He was in a New York state of mind. This song also takes a nostalgic view of New York City, and for some New Yorkers, especially Billy Joel fans, this is their jam. Look, I'm not trying to make fun of New York songs about how great New York is.
Hey, bro, I don't know nothing about Billy Joel, know what I'm saying? I would assume he not a rapper and then he probably like a singer or something like that. But know what I'm saying, bro, if y'all got some information, know what I'm saying, that y'all can drop for me down below that I could read, know what I'm saying? Cause I ain't trying to be hopping on Google and stuff like that, 17-minute video, but like, know what I'm saying, if y'all know anything about Billy Joel, know what I'm saying, or any other artists mentioned, y'all let me know something, man. Let me know something.
I grew up in a few different places, so I don't have the same sense of pride in a singular city like this. If you're from New York and you love these songs, or any other song about New York, sing them loud, sing them proud. Each of these songs, Autumn in New York, New York, New York, and Billy Joel's New York State of Mind, have carried on this tradition for almost 90 years, painting a distinctly gorgeous picture of New York City. It's the greatest city in the world, full of opportunity, and you gotta get here. So this is one big thing coming out of New York, songs about New York and how great it is. The other big thing coming out of New York is, any guesses? I'll give you a hint. It took over the world, and it's the most popular genre of music today. Hip-hop is credited as beginning on August 11th, 1973 with DJ Kool Herc in the Bronx. It started here and spread throughout New York with more DJs and MCs emulating and evolving what hip-hop was. But fast forward through the history a bit, and by 1994, hip-hop was spread all over the United States, with West Coast G-Funk exploding into the mainstream, and Rap-A-Lot Records artists had begun spreading in the South. These each have their own distinct production styles to them, and they don't sound like New York hip-hop, but it's not just about location or production styles. As hip-hop began to get more popular, it produced things like MC Hammer's Can't Touch This from 1990, or Vanilla Ice rapping Go Ninja, Go in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, Secret of the Ooze. Look, I'm not trying to speak ill of MC Hammer. I only bring him up to show the contrast and see how far hip-hop had come with a giant commercial hit like Can't Touch This. However, I will absolutely make fun of Ninja Turtles 2. I loved that movie so much, but let me tell you, I watched it again recently and it does not hold up. I also bring this up to say, look at the contrast here. Hip-hop had not only grown and expanded and changed beyond the borders of New York, but had also, in both of these cases, moved away from any notion of real.
I mess with New York, bro, because they got their own little swag, know what I'm saying? Like, New York tough right now, bro. New York been tough, but know what I'm saying? I rock with New York, bro. I ain't really spent too much time out there. I've been there like once or twice, but like, know what I'm saying? It's about time to go back, y'all. I think it's about time to go back, know what I'm saying?
Realness.
Now, one more note on this notion of realness. So there was a Columbia press sheet that accompanied Nomadic that said, while it's sad that there's so much fronting in the rap world today, this should only make us sit up and pay attention when a rapper comes along who isn't about milking the latest trend and running off you can beat. I'm looking at you, Vanilla Ice.
It's among this landscape that a new MC emerges.
Yes,
An MC who calls himself Nasty Nas, coming out of Queensbridge, and at age 20 has the lyrical prowess of a 65-year-old Harvard professor. I didn't just pluck that analogy out of the air. There's a great video from a few years ago where Harvard professor Elise...
Bro, Nas dropped out of school in like 8th grade, bro. Something like that. Y'all let me know if I'm wrong. Like 7th, 8th grade or something like that, bro. He's different.
The New sits down with Nas to discuss Illmatic and the power of poetry
Nas
and
is a
hip-hop.
genius, bro.
Illmatic is such a landmark album for several reasons. For one, it's Nas's debut album, and it's a masterpiece. His ability to tell a story, paint a picture, and weave words and wordplay together is astonishing. He's consistently been recognized as one of the best rappers ever, and if you take time to sit with his words on just this album, it's easy to see why. And he was only 20. On the musical side of this album, it's such a huge deal because Illmatic features multiple incredible New York producers. Pete Rock, Large Professor, LES, Q-Tip, DJ Premier. This is like the who's who of New York hip-hop producers at the time. Each of these producers are legends in their own right, and it's going to take multiple other videos to cover each of their contributions on this album. But for today, we're talking just about the song New York State of Mind, which was produced by DJ Premier. I made another video about DJ Premier, specifically his work on the Mos Def song Mathematics, and how the music perfectly matches the lyrics. DJ Premier has said it can't be just a random beat with lyrics on top, they have to match each other. And well, let's get into this song because he's doing the same thing with New York State of Mind. First, let's talk about the significance of this song. A moment ago, we looked at two big things to come out of New York. One was songs about New York and how great it is, and the other one was hip-hop itself. Nas is circling back on both of these things. This hip-hop album is very New York, and the song even has New York in the title. But Nas's New York State of Mind paints a very different picture than Sinatra or Billy Joel. It's not brimming with unlimited opportunity or rose-colored promises of love. It's a stark look at the dangerous environment he's grown up in, the violent world of New York during the crack epidemic. Nas begins with this iconic line saying how good he is at rapping before laying out a vivid scene of crackheads, drug dealers, violence, and how if you aren't also carrying a gun, you're not gonna survive. It's a very vivid look at the world he lives in and ends with the equally iconic line, I never sleep 'cause sleep is the cousin of death, beyond the walls of intelligence.
But that was one of the hardest bars. That's the hardest bar I done ever heard, bro. That's the hardest bar I'd ever heard, bro.
Life is defined, and after laying out all of this, finishes the verse with, I think of crime when I'm in a New York state of mind. Holy sh**. Hip-hop has spread all over the country, changed and evolved, and become ninja rap from Ninja Turtles. Nas puts out this song and says, here's how New York does it, and lays out a whole vivid world of violence and drug dealers, and finishes it off by essentially going, oh hey, Sinatra, hey, Billy Joel, New York state of mind? This is what my life is like.
Real talk.
One quick point of clarification. I'm not trying to say that Nas doesn't like Billy Joel, because it's actually the opposite. On Wednesday, he went on Colbert saying how much he loves him and hopes to collaborate with him someday. Oh, look at that. It's Madison Square Garden.
View
Wonder who's playing it.
crazy.
He's bringing back the songs about New York theme, but showing a very different side of New York. Not one brimming with opportunity, but a side where crews without guns are goners. He's circled back on both of these ideas we started with and is showing us his version of it. And underneath it all is one of the most iconic beats in hip-hop history, courtesy of DJ Premier. As far as the beat goes, there are three main elements happening. First is the drums. Premier has sampled the Kool and the Gang song NT, slowing it down and chopping it up a bit to make a new beat out of it. What I love about this is the original was recorded live in 1971, so there's no click. I've talked about this concept in a few other videos, but this means the drummer is making his own groove grid. Yep, that's it. Basically, the subdivisions aren't metronomically perfect, but they feel good, and that's where the magic is. But then Primo samples this and slows it down, so we're essentially zooming in on all of those imperfections and they're magnified. This gives the drums a very distinct feel. This drum break has a lot of subdivisions in it, and Primo's kept that in and then slowed it down. So check it out, here's the kick, here's the snare, that's all in there.
He finna make the beat.
And he's grabbing one more kick. So he's preserving all of this feel, but then slowing down, stretching it out, and zooming in on this. So now let's play these individual hits to make a new drum. Put a pin in this zooming in idea, because we're coming back to it in a second. Then we've got that high-pitched sample on top. This is taken from the Donald Byrd song Flight Time from 1973. The opening of the original song has a plane taking off with these pitches coming in at the start. And Primo's cut this and pitched it down, but that plane is still in there. Check it out. We're gonna grab a couple of those. The effect is that it sounds almost like a bird or a subway train or something. You put these two together and you get a sound that, I mean, it just sounds like New York hip hop.
Oh God. Yeah. Bro, I know when Nas heard this beat, he was like, dog.
To me, the musical effect
Crazy.
here is that we're zooming in on the city of New York, seeing the imperfections that you otherwise might not notice, and the bird or the subway noise or whatever on top is playing in time with this zoomed in imperfection. The song starts with just these elements, no bass line yet. It feels like if New York songs from Billy Joel or Sinatra took a wide view of the city and it was all optimism, the beat of this song is letting us know we're about to zoom all the way in and see what New York is really like from this MC's perspective. And then we get to the iconic bass line. This is sampled from the Joe Chambers song Mind Rain from 1978. Joe Chambers is a jazz drummer and vibraphonist, and on this album is playing piano. So this bass line is technically a piano line. It's just very slightly pitched down, but there's two variations of it. Basically, just the line by itself. And then the version that has that piano triad on top. Let's layer that in.
Y'all ever seen that cartoon Hey Arnold, bro? But I used to be watching that shit, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, I don't know, bro, whenever I hear this beat, whenever I listen to New York State of Mind, you know what I'm saying, it just remind me of the show for some reason. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what's that shit called? They be saying nostalgic.
I play bass in Nas's live band, so I've played this line many times. It's one of the most interesting and unique bass lines I've ever come across in any genre of music, and it's definitely one of the most iconic hip-hop bass lines. But to understand what makes this bass line so unique, I gotta go on a quick music theory tangent. If you're a bass player like me, you're very used to playing roots. That's the first note of the chord, the home bass, and everything else in the chord is defined around what that root is. If you're gonna stray away from the root, your safest choice is the octave, because that's the same note, just higher, or the fifth, because that's a structural note. It doesn't add a lot of flavor to the sound, but it thickens the whole thing up. Another good option is the third, which could be major or minor, and defines the next part of the chord. Basically, you can't have like a D flat minor 7, flat 5, flat 9, or whatever without first having a D flat, the root, which establishes the whole thing, or the third, which is minor in this case, and therefore defines the rest of it as minor. As you add more and more notes to the chord, like jazz musicians often do, the general rule is that you want your more interesting, colorful notes on top, voiced in the higher end, and your lower structural beginning of a chord name notes on the bottom are voiced lower. This is why bass players play so many roots. In order for the interesting extension notes on top, the 7, 9, 11, 13, or whatever, you have to have the structure underneath contrasting and showing why these higher notes are unique. Structure notes on bottom, colorful extension notes on top. Got it. But this Joe Chambers
I zoned out, I ain't gonna lie to y'all.
notes on bottom, beneath contrasting and the not play so many roots. In order for the interesting extension notes on top, the 7, 9, 11, 13, or whatever, you have to have the structure underneath contrasting and showing why these higher notes are unique. Structure notes on bottom, colorful extension notes on top. Got it. But this Joe Chambers sample takes this idea and flips it upside down. Alright, here's what I think is so interesting about this bass line. You basically start on the root, then you play a fifth, shoot past the octave for a minor ninth, fifth, octave, fifth, flat 7, then you have flat 5 to regular 5. Right? And that flat 5, perfect 5th scoop thing happens really quickly. When I play it live, I extend it out just a little bit.
It's a talented
Although, I
dude,
mean,
man.
picture this with live drums too, so it's a slightly different feel than the original sample. But there's all these really interesting chord tones in the bass line that bass players normally don't get to play. There's actually not even a major or minor third in the bass line. That's save for the piano chord on top, which is just the basic triad. So the piano has the structure on top, and the bass has all the interesting extension stuff below that.
Sorry, just got to clarify one more thing. I said it's like a simple triad on top. It's not quite exactly a triad. So I was talking to Marquet. He plays keys for Nas. What's the chord that you play on top?
Yeah, so it's a C sharp minor with the A flat at the bottom.
Oh, it's just an A flat on the bottom.
Yeah.
Okay, it's
Yeah.
inverted. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, back to it.
So the song starts with drums and the Donald Byrd sample. It feels like we're zooming in on New York City, seeing those imperfections clearer, and then the bass line comes in with the piano chord on top. It's the exact opposite of what you'd normally hear. We get all of this complex, gritty stuff sitting underneath a simple chord on top. It's like we're zooming in, looking
I'm gonna keep it a bug with y'all. Y'all probably can't even see the whole screen, man. My fault, man.
below the surface, and what we find is much more complex than you might think. The lyrics and the music are basically saying the same thing. Now, this is how I interpret this song and what I hear happening when I listen to it. Nas or DJ Premier probably wouldn't use those same words, but I think the idea, the feeling, is the same. With New York State of Mind, Nas is circling back on two things to come out of New York: hip-hop and songs about New York. He's elevating hip-hop and lyricism to a new level and inverting our expectations about New York songs.
Definitely
In the
did.
years since it came out, this song has become iconic, and for many people, the quintessential New York song. Illmatic is heralded as one of the best hip-hop albums of all time, and through many more songs, albums, and years, Nas has cemented himself as a hip-hop legend.
Most recently, Nas released the King's Disease trilogy of albums with producer Hit Boy, and tonight, February 24th, 2023, he performed them at Madison Square Garden. I guess I should tell you why I'm in New York. I played bass. I just played Madison Square Garden with Nas. That is a crazy thing to say. That's crazy.
I ain't gonna lie.
It was incredible. Near the end of the King's Disease set, Mary J. Blige came out,
Yeah,
and
they
then
was
just when
turned.
you thought it was done, there was a low rumble, some thunder, and then playing that bass line at Madison Square Garden with Nas. Unbelievable. Unreal. Incredible to take this iconic line and play it with, I don't even know, it's so loud. My fingers are making the music, and it's going out there, and people are losing their minds because they love this song. Unbelievable feeling. Then we kept going with some of the classics. AZ came out for Life's a Bit. Slick Rick came out. Unbelievable show. Historic and incredible to see where Nas started and then ending up headlining Madison Square Garden. I am so grateful to get to be a part of that. That is I don't have words for that. That's incredible. I mentioned earlier how DJ Premier has said that the music and the lyrics have to match. He's doing this on New York State of Mind. He also does this on a pretty insane level on the Mos Def song Mathematics. But for that story, you know the drill. You gotta watch this video.
Hey man, that's a tough video, I ain't gonna lie. You know what I'm saying? He giving you his perspective, and he was there, you know what I'm saying? He not just no random or nothing like that. That's tough, bro. This I rock with, bro, you know what I'm saying? He didn't earn my subscription.